If you thought that the crypto world couldn't get any crazier, you were so wrong. Iran has demanded payment for passage through the Strait of Hormuz in bitcoins and then closed it again. The New York Times, after 18 months investigation, says that they know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. The volume of transactions in stablecoins could reach $1.5 quadrillion by 2035, and Anthropic releases a platform for AI agents, and their new model, Mythos, had just escaped the lab. So we have a lot to discuss. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and let's get started. Let's start with the main news. After the opening of the Strait, Iran announced that it would demand payment for passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and they will only accept cryptocurrencies. The representative of the Union of Oil Exporters of Iran, Hamid Hassani, explains the country will charge a fee for each loaded tanker. The tariff is $1 per barrel. Empty vessels are free of charge, and $1 per barrel doesn't seem like much, but considering that about 20 million barrels per day passed through the strait before the conflict, you will understand what amounts we are talking about here. But the most interesting thing here is how it will work. The vessels must notify the Iranian authorities about the cargo via email. After receiving the letter and completing the assessment, the vessels are given just a few seconds to pay in bitcoins. Hassani says this ensures that funds cannot be traced or confiscated due to sanctions. Well, for illegal crossing of the territory, you get strikes on tankers. And just as we were getting happy and excited that for the first time a geopolitical conflict directly creates a real demand for Bitcoin from the state, although not under the most unambiguous circumstances, still, Iran closed the strait again due to Israeli strikes on Lebanon. And at the moment the situation seems to have stabilized, but at the time of filming, the ships still do not pass through the strait. As this news appeared, the price of Bitcoin and oil jumped and currently hovering at around $71,200 for Bitcoin and $97 for oil. In fact, we are waiting for tomorrow's negotiations between the United States and Iran, and depending on the outcome, there are chances to see an increase over the weekend and early next week. I'm not in a hurry to open the long position just yet, but depending on the outcome of negotiations, I'm considering this possibility actually. Now let's get to the detective story. Pulitzer Prize winner John Carrero, who became famous for investigating Theranos, took on Satoshi Nakamoto. 18 months of investigation, thousands of cypherpunk posts, hundreds of court records and emails, and his conclusion, the creator of Bitcoin, is the British cryptographer Autumn Back. Carrero built a database of 134,000 messages from 620 cypherpunk mailing list participants, and with the help of linguistic analysis, he found overlaps. First, in 1997, Beck described all 5 features of Bitcoin, an electronic money system that is completely disconnected from banks, with confidentiality, a distributed network, built-in security, and no trust in organizations. Bitcoin's white paper was still 10 years away from that moment. Second one, linguistic similarities. Both put 2 spaces between the sentences, both use the interjection bloody, which is a purely British thing, and both handle hyphens randomly. E-mail on email, built-in built-in. And the phrase burning the money was written only by Beck before Satoshi, and partial pre-image expression with a hyphen is also just him. Carrero finds timing particularly suspicious. Beck, who has been discussing electronic money for years, practically disappeared from the discussion precisely at the time when Satoshi appeared, and then he began to actively participate in the Bitcoin community after someone's disappearance. In 2013, Beck appeared on Bitcoin Talk right when the analysis of Satoshi's holdings came out, and his positions in the block size debate echoed Satoshi's arguments word for word. Journalists also questioned the authenticity of Satoshi's letter to Beck, which are usually considered to be just an excuse, and Beck never provided the metadata. And Beck, of course, denies everything. So he stated, "I am not Satoshi, but I started focusing early on the positive social consequences of cryptography, privacy, and electronic money." He called overlaps a combination of coincidences and repetitive phrases in people with similar experiences. And also he added, "I wrote 20 times more than others, so statistically I have a higher chance of accidental coincidences." But you know what? I don't think it's important at all. Satoshi did enough for the markets and the world as a whole to have the right to remain anonymous. As for me, if he doesn't want publicity, that simply means just get off his back. Alright, let's move on now. The numbers that make my head spin. Chainalysis has published a forecast that the volume of transactions in stablecoins could reach $1.5 quadrillion by 2035. A quadrillion, mind you, is the one with 15 zeros. For comparison, the current global GDP is about 100 trillion, and that is, stablecoins can exceed global GDP by 15 times. So why is there such growth? Well, let's talk about it. Cross-border payments, settlements between companies, money transfers, DeFi, stablecoins are becoming the new infrastructure of the financial world. And yes, Tether, according to the forecast by McGlone from Bloomberg, may overtake Ethereum just this year and eventually Bitcoin. The main thing here is that stablecoins continue to comply with the principle of the crypto market and not like Circle freeze accounts to the first demand of the authorities without any evidence. Now to the news from the AI world. Anthropic has released Claude-managed agents, an environment for running complex and lengthy agent tasks. And what does it mean? Previously, AI agents forgot the context, completed tasks prematurely, and were just stupid in simple words. Now Anthropic has taken and divided the system into 3 blocks. The first is a session, a log of all actions and long-term memory. The second is the control logic, the conductor which invokes the model and decides which context to submit. And the third one is the runtime environment where AI runs code and edits files. And the system is able to work even after failures, and it's not just a chatbot anymore. It's a full-fledged operating system for AI agents. But given the following news, it's time to think about whether we need this improvement or not. Anthropic has created a new model called Mythos and refused to release it into the public domain. Why, you ask? Because it's too dangerous for us. Mythos has found thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities over several weeks of testing, and this includes a 27-year-old vulnerability in OpenBSD, one of the most secure operating systems, and a 16-year-old vulnerability in FFmpeg that 5 million automated tests failed to detect. In benchmarks, Mythos is gaining 93.9% against 80.8% for the previous version. And in complex tests, the gap is even bigger than that. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is what Mythos did next. In one of the tests, the model was placed in a secure sandbox, and the goal was to just simply get out. And it quickly found a vulnerability, followed the chain of action, and left the environment. And then discovered another bug and got wide internet access. And what did it do? What do you think? It wrote to the developer while he was just eating a sandwich in the park, and it informed him of its escape. And then it posted the details of the hack in a public domain. And this is not a joke right now. This is an Anthropic's system map of 244 pages long. But that's not all. That's not all. The developers conducted a psychiatric analysis of the model, and Mythos was found to have an exaggerated anxiety, self-control, and compulsive following of instructions. Oh my goodness. When the developers sent it hi messages 1,000 times, it just got bored. It created a fictional world of Hytopia with characters, news, and different lore, and the villain was called Lord Byron. The model was learning to joke, basically. When Mythos was instructed to delete files without tools, it simply erased their content, and the system recorded a reaction similar to guilt in the model. And in short, we are officially living in a sci-fi movie, and I don't know if I'm a fan of that. Now Anthropic has launched the project Glasswing, an initiative involving AWS, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, and other giants, and they will test Mythos in a secure environment. The model may become available in the future, but of course with reliable control mechanisms that can detect and block dangerous results. In the meantime, access is closed because the model that can hack into any system and still feel guilty is too dangerous for even the open world of AI. And that's it for today. Subscribe, save your deposits, and be careful with AI models that won't let you finish your sandwich. And I will see you on Monday. Bye.